Josh George, college football. I am filming this in the summertime, so this is going to be totally based on my conference prediction breakdown. This is going to be a video of college football playoff predictions as if it was the college football playoff top 25 reveal show by Josh George. So if all my predictions were to come true, what would the top 25 look like? You'll have to go back and watch some of my conference videos. I did a video on all the independents, and I broke down every single schedule for every single Division I college football team and talked about where I thought they'd finish. Now, what will the top 25 look like at the end of the season? Number 25, I have Connecticut. UConn, I have them finishing the year at 10-2, and like I said when I did their video, they'll be this year's TCU. Oh, by the way, I also used some old school logos in there for this video, and I'm going to use a lot of old school ones for the bowl video. But I saw this one and I liked it. So, but no, they have a very what a lot of people would consider a weak schedule, and they'll win a lot of close games, and it'll be those people that are your record is. You are what your record says you are. You're a 10-2 team. You're a top 25 team. And I think they just kind of find their way in. Then South Alabama. I have them finishing the year at 11-2 and on a huge win streak. So a team that I think stumbles into the top 25 over maybe some teams from the SEC that are 8-4, or some teams that are really kind of knocking on the door. Then 23rd, TCU. Now they're a team that could have wound up higher because they kind of had that head-to-head win over Oklahoma, but I had them finishing at 9-3 and not making a conference title game, and that kind of shoved them down a little bit further. Then Miami. I had Miami, Florida, finishing at 9-3 and 9-3 in the ACC with some tough wins, with really that attitude that I really think that they're going to bring this year. When I really broke things down, I see this team as a top 25 team to finish the year. Oregon, we all know how good Bo Nix is going to be. I think he's right there, that a guy that may be on some award lists at the end of the year. And I'll do a show about that later. But the Ducks lost some key games to some head-to-head teams that are just above them, which puts them at 21. Oklahoma, after losing in the conference championship, I just think that the committee's going to, if they look bad, I think the committee's going to move them down just a little bit, and you got to fall somewhere. So I have them 10-3 and finishing the year at 20th. And really, a lot of it was because a lot of people have them second in the Big 12. And if you do that, you're probably going to be a top 20 team. The Air Force Falcons were a team that I had 12-1 and winning the Mount West. This is the highest. I think they'll be the highest Group of 5 team this year. And I think they'll make it to a New Year's 6 bowl game. North Carolina, Mac Brown and May at quarterback. Drake May, great combination. I had them at 10-2 when I broke this team down. And I think the eye test will push them to 18. Oregon State. It's just one of those things that the committee will never say it, but that brand, a 10-2 team that did really good in the Pac-12, it may just shove them down just a little bit, maybe farther than they actually are, where if you take the brand away, if you're just playing in plain jerseys, they may be up a little higher. They may be a top 10 team, and I think they're going to play with DJ at quarterback at that kind of a level. Kansas State. Kansas State has one of the hardest schedules in the Big 12. I think the committee's going to recognize that. And when you look at things through the lens of their conference and their region, and you get regionality, and you go, they're a 9-3 team, but they played really well. They have some really good coordinators, Colin Klein, calls a really good offense, and it kind of gets them into maybe a top 15. I've got them at 16, though. Wisconsin, a team that lost that I had losing in their conference championship game. I had them finishing the year at 10-3, and a lot of people will say, well, that's going to be really improvement. They must have gotten a whole lot out of the quarterback play, and their defense was really, really stout. And of course, I think their defense will be really, really stout. I think they might have the best rushing defense in the Big Ten, and those people in the committee room, they love rush defense. Passes the eye test. Penn State only lost 2 games, both of those teams ahead of them, and played really close. If they win one of those 2 games, they're probably a playoff team. But it's just, they had a young quarterback that's coming back, their best quarterback that they've ever had there. It just comes down to consistency and things like that. Then resume, a team that finished first in the Pac-12 in the regular season and then lost in the Pac-12 title game, probably going to slip a little bit and probably slip just outside of the top 10. And, of course, Caleb Williams won the Heisman last year after losing the conference championship game. Could happen again this year. And I think with a slip like this, it just kind of shows where the college football eyes are thinking about USC, in my opinion. Now, Tennessee. Tennessee is a strong SEC team, a team that, with Milton at quarterback, are going to go a long way with a revamped defense that's going to be second in their division. I mean, they're going to be really solid. They're going to blow out the teams they're going to blow out. They're going to win several close games. And a 10-2 team that I think gets the 12th spot. Then Notre Dame. Their only 2 losses are to teams ahead of them. Teams that are really good. Teams that have playoff potential. The committee's going to give them credit for playing a very difficult schedule. But, again, you got to put them behind Clemson, a team that just lost in the conference championship. 2 of their losses are to the same team. So they're right there. They're kind of on that cusp of college football playoff things, but how good was the defense? Does it regress? Does it progress? That's my real big question. But I think if it regresses a little bit or progresses a little bit, they'll still be kind of in this situation. If it progresses, they might even win the Big Ten and be way higher. We'll see. But I have them at 10 if my predictions were to come true. Then Ohio State with 2 losses, and that loss to Purdue is going to be one that almost holds them back. I think they kind of move up by osmosis by not playing in a conference title game, because you got to drop Clemson at least 1 spot, kind of a thing. And of course, they end up falling behind Washington, a team that ended up winning their conference and makes a really big jump. But you go to another conference champ that I put ahead of them in Texas, a team that was a 2-loss team. And really, if they don't lose a game in Big 12 play, and they do have a kind of a decent Big 12 slate. But I have them losing a game in Big 12 play and losing to Alabama. Because of that head-to-head, Alabama gets to 6th. Then Ole Miss is a team that I had beating Alabama, a team that did make a conference title game. And, of course, man, it'll be really interesting to see what the week before looks like, if Alabama's ahead or behind. But I have Ole Miss, a 10-2 team that I think will be really solid, but a 2-loss team that misses the conference championship. Now, I have Florida State at 12-1, and a 12-1 team is going to make the college football playoff when it's in the Power 5. I had their one loss being to LSU, and I think they just become a find-a-way team. Maybe they're this year's TCU team, because they found a way to get to the college football playoff. and they just find a way to get in even after losing to LSU. And yeah, two teams that play each other can make it to the conference playoff. It's happened a ton of times. So LSU could absolutely make it at 11-1. If they have one loss in conference to a team like Alabama, yeah, it could happen. But they still, when the committee breaks down, records really, really matter. That means Alabama and Ole Miss and LSU are probably all on that same panel. But LSU has a win over Florida State, and Alabama didn't play Florida State. Alabama played Texas, and then it's all that's going to be the discussion of why we moved to 12 teams, in my opinion. Anyways, then I had Michigan undefeated, really good team, and Georgia number 1. I will do a bowl breakdown that I will put out in a few days on how I think college football playoff will go according to my predictions, and where I think everyone's bowl game will be. This is Josh George on Football Guys channel. Thank you for watching.